Facebook. Good morning, St. Johns County. I hope everybody is doing well on this Monday morning. A lot going on this week that we're going to get to in just a few minutes here on the morning show. I want to welcome everybody in here today, and I hope you had a great weekend and a great Mother's Day. I think my mom is watching right now. She is. She said the intro is beautiful. Mom, I love you very much. Happy Mother's Day. Troy, how was your Mother's Day? Did you get to spend any of it with anybody but me and Reggie?
I got to spend a lot of time with you and Reggie.
You did.
It was quite entertaining. We stood on the side of a street for a long time. But I mean, it was an interesting Mother's Day. I'll give you that.
It definitely was. And before we get into all the details, I got to remind everybody that the St. Johns County show that's on the morning is brought to you by our friends at Old City Homes. Jerry Fulcomer has affordable, brand new 2-bedroom, 2-bath houses for under $175. Give Jerry a call, 904-466-4719. So, yeah, wow, what a day, man.
No, and I kind of picked up on your show about 5 minutes in, and I realized you said your battery's about to die, and that's when I texted you. I was like, you need me to bring your battery? You're like, hell yeah, bring me battery.
You saved the day, man, because, yeah, my battery was about 20%, maybe 45 minutes into it. My battery had got down to about 25%, and I got the warning, and I'm thinking, oh, man, my phone is going to die.
And you're not going to see what happened.
We're not going to be able to report what happened. People aren't going to know what happened. So I didn't want to leave people there as a cliffhanger. Now, by the time you got there, though, you had to park, about a quarter of a mile down the road to even get where we were near Murray Middle School.
And I had to run back once to get the cord, and you had to go. We learned that 2-hour time limit, I guess, on Facebook per show, because it shut off exactly at the 2-hour mark.
Did it?
To get the tripod, I was like, come back, me. I was like, Matt, Bobby. I was like, I didn't do anything, I swear.
Luckily, the second time I left, I had when I realized you guys needed to come back and connect. I came back, and then I went back to look for a tripod. And during that time, they entered the house. The police and the SWAT team entered the house.
And I was looking for you again. I was like, okay, I got to give the commentary now.
Yeah, no, and I was fine with you giving the commentary. I knew you could handle it, so I knew you were running the cameraman. So I appreciate you out there. Matt came along and gave some good insight through the whole thing as to, without really getting into too many of the details, kind of talked about what was going on and what was happening. It was a really tense situation, man. I got to tell you, nobody really knew what to expect. Obviously, we put out the hashtag yesterday. Reggie was wrong.
Reggie,
we love you anyway,
Reggie.
Reggie.
Of the show, though. Hey.
Reggie was definitely. Look, man, if you can find something light in a situation, I'm all about it. And Reggie definitely added some comical commentary for sure, man.
Yeah, Jaguar Paw.
Jaguar Paw.
Jaguar Paw.
We tracked him down on Facebook. He became a local celebrity last night. Everybody was real into it, man. He was a lot of fun, but he was dead wrong. He was confident, man. I mean, he was yelling at the top of his lungs for probably 2 hours straight.
He said, "Buddy's gone."
Yeah. He said he's out of there. He's long gone. He's been, he said he was never in the house. All this and that. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Reggie for at least adding some comedy.
Yeah. No, it did give an entertainment value to it.
Definitely did.
They did find the suspect underneath the house.
Yeah. After a really long process. I mean, like we mentioned, we were there for it was over 3 hours while, by the time everybody packed up. But
I had to go pick up my kid.
Yeah.
So by the time they found him, and I was still watching you, and I was like, okay, I was really concerned what had happened to this guy and how their intel had gotten so bad that they wasted that kind of, but they hadn't wasted money. They sent the dog back in and the chainsaws in. And,
they found holes in the floors while they were there. I don't know if those were necessarily pre-made compartments that maybe the suspect knew he could go down into, or if he had just dug them on site. We didn't really get that information, but yeah, he definitely had a little bit of time. just to walk people through it start to finish, I'll give you a quick synopsis if you weren't there. Basically, we showed up on scene, and Troy, I got to tell you, this is why people love the 904 now, man. We pretty much knew the story as soon as we got there because we had talked to people on the ground. The story that was confirmed about 4 hours later was that the man inside had shot at his girlfriend's car, went back into the house. There was a child in the house. The police were able to talk to him and get the child out of the house. They got the child out of the house, so the child was safe. And then from then on out, it was just trying to get the man out of the house peacefully and safely. You know, they did nothing but talk to him on the megaphone for the majority of the time, just asking him, come out safely. You know, your family's here, your mother's here, your son's here. They all want to see you. They all want you to come out safe. At one point, they threw in some sort of communication box that had a receiver on it that they could call inside the house so that he could pick up and talk to them. The guy inside the house did not pick up that receiver. So, you know, they started to kind of escalate, move the battering ram in. They shot a couple of what may have been flashbangs or gas canisters. We're still not exactly sure what they fired into the house to try and they scare them a little bit.
They put on masks like it was some type of gas thing, but when they entered the house, they weren't necessarily wearing them. Not all of them were wearing. A couple were, but not all of them were wearing the mask when they entered the house. And when you walked away, they actually went to a different room and broke the window and then shot in another flashbang, and then they entered the house immediately at that point. So I don't know if they tried to identify exactly what room he may have been in, or they were trying to disrupt, where they were entering from and which side they were entering from. But it was definitely an interesting time. We had a direct shot at the front door, where you had positioned yourself, and we got to see it all unfold.
Yeah, we did. And, everybody, like you mentioned, everybody kind of thought it was over at the point where they went in and we saw about at least 10 officers, at least 10 SWAT officers go in total. And just kind of one by one, they just kind of filed out, and they never had anybody with them. And so we were sitting on the scene thinking, wow, Reggie might be right.
He might have been right.
Reggie might have been right. There might not have been anybody in this house.
Yeah, no. When I left the scene, I was thinking Reggie might have been the guy on the spot.
I was ready to hire him. Troy.
And we got to say thank you to Chuck Mulligan coming over and talking to you and kind of giving a complete update. I mean, he kind of came to where you guys were at, and it was a nice interview to kind of fill everybody, kind of recap exactly what had happened throughout the day. And there was
definitely much appreciated.
That stayed on with you, Pete, all day long. I mean, they were there pretty much the entire 3.5 hours.
I know. I talked to plenty of people that were, and I appreciate that I wasn't the only one doing that. Fortunately for them, they didn't have to have their arms in this position the entire time.
Yeah,
I think my shoulders are just jacked today, man. I don't quite look like Dwight Howard, but I think after just that one day, I'm getting there.
No, I was feeling bad for you. I mean, I only gave you a break for like 15 minutes, and.
Yeah, but it was a nice break. It was definitely a nice break. But yeah, we had people who watched, through the whole 4 hours. And, like I said, towards the end, people weren't sure what was going on. But, I saw them, when I saw them crank up the chainsaw, I thought, okay, there's more to this. There's something else happening. That's not them just going in the attic. Because if this guy, if the suspect couldn't get up into the attic, why can't they just get up into the attic? So
yeah, there had to be a way he left behind of how he got what he do. He'd have to at least kick the ladder, and then there'd be a ladder there.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. You're not gonna get up into the attic without a way for anybody else to get up there. So yeah, when I saw that going in, I thought, I'll just stick around and keep on filming. And then there was another point where even after that, people came out, and I told everybody that was watching, I said, look, if anything happens, we'll pop back on. And I hung around for a little while. And all of a sudden, I see fire rescue pulling around. And I see Chuck Mulligan walking up, and I asked him, I said, "Hey, Mr. Mulligan, are the fire rescue here for the officers?" Because I assumed they'd probably breathed in some gas. Maybe they'd breathed in some gas, and fire rescue was coming to tend to him. And he looked at me and said, "Nope, they got him. We got him. He's fine. We got him. He was under the floor."
Wow.
I couldn't believe it, man.
And like all the SWAT had already kind of dispersed.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So that's and that was one of the questions I asked. I think Matt was still there. I asked, wouldn't they have fire rescue if they felt like he was in there at that point? And, the fire rescue was only a block away. I mean, but it's like, if they had to possibly shoot a suspect, or if they felt like it was going to be a situation like that, I felt like they should have had fire rescue a little closer, but I guess they brought him in when they needed him.
Yeah, exactly when they needed him, man. So, a very tense situation. We're glad it didn't end in any loss of life. I mean, like we mentioned through the whole thing, I mean, the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office did absolutely everything they could and ended up succeeding in bringing this person out without any incident, without any harm, without firing any bullets. Other than the canisters. And that when the first shots went off, man, I got to tell you, there were a lot of emotions. First of all, if anybody was watching, they saw me duck and, jump about 5 feet to the right.
And when that happened, I was walking towards you.
Yeah.
I couldn't see. I was blocked by the school. I could only hear what was going on. And I was walking towards you. And I could hear, I actually had you on my phone as I was walking towards you. And I was like, oh my gosh. First off, I was thinking, okay, make sure Pete's safe, because if he was shooting out of the house.
Right. I was thinking about that the whole time. If he was going to shoot outside of the house, me and a few other people were pretty much right in the line of fire there. So, yeah, when that first gunshot went off, I ducked and jumped to the left like I'm going to avoid a gunshot by the time I hear it. But, it took everybody by surprise, and nobody knew what, there was a lot of emotions, because at first you hear a big bang like that and you think, oh no, somebody got shot. Yeah. Whether they shot him or he shot himself in the house, and it was just, everybody was a little bit worried. And then you hear a couple more shots, and
Pete, Jaguar Paw is actually on our feed right now.
Reggie, what's up, man? Reggie. See, this is. I don't
don't
know how Reggie's on the feed, because I told Reggie, I said, Reggie, come on the morning show tomorrow, man. We want to talk to you. He said, oh man, I got to work in the morning.
Yeah.
Reggie, are you watching Facebook at work? Get back to work, Reggie. What are you doing?
he clicked over just to see if we were talking about it.
That's it. Oh, Reggie is Jaguar Paw in the comments there, man. He definitely was, a nice guy and provided some commentary that nobody else on the scene provided. That's for sure.
Yeah. Too funny. It was too funny. So, no, but I mean, like you said, when that happened, I was completely blocked by, I couldn't see you, but I could hear the bangs. It was one of those things where I was blocked by the building, so I couldn't tell. It didn't sound exactly like gunshot, but I wasn't sure exactly what they were using. And we later found out, that they were using the flashbangs, and there was two sounds when it, one when it left the gun and one when it went off inside.
Right. Yeah.
Or the launcher. I don't know if you call it a gun at that point.
Right. Yeah.
And then we could actually see the next time when they were doing it again, we could see it where they were positioned themselves, and we're like, okay, we understand that sound now. It's one of those things we learn as we go through this process. What we're looking at.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't have to go through this process a whole lot, but hopefully it allows us to report it better next time around.
Yeah.
So you did a great job, Pete, and I mean, the commitment you had to that story, I just want to congratulate you. I mean, I think we had at one point we had over 1,200 people watching it at one point.
Yeah, man.
It just shows the need for what you provided yesterday. So.
Well, I got to tell you, there's definitely a need for me to have a tripod next time. For everybody's sake. For shaky camera's sake, and for the sake of my arms. Yeah, that's definitely for sure. But yeah, man, like I was saying to Reggie, there's just nobody else here in town that covers this type of stuff, man. I looked around the local publications last night to see if they might have had any insight we didn't get for the story. None of them were even talking about it. It was nuts. It was the biggest thing happening in St. Augustine yesterday, and nobody was talking about it.
They don't have reporters in town.
Yeah, no.
I mean, First Coast News showed up, an hour and a half after you were there. I don't even know if they had their camera out when a lot of the excitement actually happened. So so I mean, you were definitely you definitely scooped everybody. It looked like Chuck Mulligan gave you that appreciation of what you were given. And I'd have to say I looked down and some of my law enforcement people that I know were watching the feed.
I know.
Because you and I both have connections with local law enforcement, and I look down and they're watching the feed as you're providing it.
I know.
You asked me, it's like, what are your? Well, my guys are watching you.
Yeah. It's nuts, man. And it's funny because I don't think of what we do at the 904 now as like the Record or the News Journal or whatever newspaper you want to call it. To be honest, I think of this more of a TMZ type of deal. Like, You may not love my delivery. My delivery may not make you feel all warm and fuzzy all the time. Yeah. We may throw a few F-bombs in here. But a lot of the times you're going to get the story first right here, man. I mean, because like I said, we were able to tell you what was going on because I had found out from people on the scene who knew the guy in the house. And so I was able to tell you what was going on 4 hours before we could confirm it with police. And it did turn out to be exactly right, So I don't know. We can go a little bit deeper because I don't have to run it by the editor and I don't have to run it by this guy and get it approved by this guy and then run it through the top and then put it in publication scheduled for tomorrow at 7:55. No, man, we can run with what's happening now and we can give you the story.
And you're getting it at the same time we're getting it.
Yeah.
And I think that's very valuable. Like people felt like they were a part of what was going on yesterday. Letting the story play out. Every once in a while I look down and people would be like, "Can I get more commentary?" Because one of the things about your feed is people come in and out, and
right.
I know we felt like we were repeating ourselves quite a bit.
Right.
But I mean, we had to do that because we didn't know who was coming in and who wasn't at the time, and that's going to be part of the pattern of how we're going to have to report on things like that.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, we don't know, where you've entered our story. So
right. Yeah.
Sense. So I mean, we apologize if you felt like we were repeating ourselves, but we were doing that for a purpose.
Right. For the people, because it was just hundreds more people every time we looked down at the phone. So it was great to see that we were helping people out and providing a service, and the people were interested in it, man. So I'm happy about that.
We helped out Jaguar Paw too. Evidently, he got 30 or 40 new friends.
He did, yeah. And we made a new friend. We made a new friend out there at Jaguar Paw, man. So that's good. Yeah. All in all, it did end peacefully, man. So that was was a very good thing. Now, beaches reopened for driving today.
Yeah,
Troy.
For driving today, and this weekend I did go downtown on Saturday night. It was pretty busy. I mean, there was still several restaurants and bars that have not opened. By the way, I'm wearing my non-essential shirt.
It finally came in. It came in the week that quarantine ended.
Yeah, it's over now, but I still consider myself non-essential. But no, it was a friend of mine who was making them, who is a bartender, and it was I felt I needed to help the cause. Yeah, but there's a lot of bars that still aren't open. There was a handful that were. Some are still doing some curbside stuff. It's just, it was an interesting time. It was kind of weird because we go, okay, let's go to this place, and this place would be closed. And I didn't even think one place would be open, and it was open. So it was kind of strange. It was hit or miss what was open, what wasn't. Still, it was pretty busy downtown. There was some live music. It was nice to hear that because we haven't heard that for weeks.
Yeah, yeah.
I live downtown, so I walk still. And one of the things that I missed as a downtown person is walking past and you hear, you recognize people's voices and you go, oh, Amy's in there or Dewey's in there or Sam's in there.
Somebody named Dewey?
Yeah, Dewey's great, man.
Okay.
He was at Miyakasa, and Dewey actually I think he's won local artist like 3 or 4 times.
Oh, okay, nice. I actually ran into you downtown. We ran into each other a couple of times.
A hard time.
Yeah, we ran into each other downtown. I was trying to film for a couple more shots for our new intro, and you totally photobombed the best moment, and I had to pack up and leave. I was frustrated. I was yelling. I was cussing all the way down St. George Street. I was flicking people off. I was kicking people in the shins. I was very upset.
And I felt absolutely nothing about that. Oh yeah, by the way, hey Pete, it's Monday today.
It is Monday. Thank you.
I forgot.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Job you got.
I appreciate that. And one thing I forgot to say too, Troy, that I really meant to mention in the middle of my little rant there, and then I'll get off of it. I promise. The people who watch the 904 Now and follow the 904 Now, those are the people that when things like this happen, they're sending me messages and they're sending me text messages and they're alerting me to the stuff that's going on around here. Sometimes I say, when I'm talking about the 904, I say we, as if it's more than just me. And I do have a couple people that help with a few things, but when I say we, what the 904 Now is, man, it's really a community effort to deliver real information out there. I mean, I get so much help from people who watch and pay attention and follow and read. And I can't thank you guys enough because really... a lot of what I'm able to bring to St. Augustine and St. Johns County is because people are telling me about it, and people are involved with me. So it's great. It's the whole system of how this works is just great, man. And we want to keep bringing you guys real information. I had a couple people that when I got there, a couple people were skeptical of me being there. They said, "What are you going to do? You just going to make up the story?" As we go along, and I said, no, man, I'm here to get the real story. I'm here to talk to people. I'm here to talk to the cops. I'm here to be here until it's over and figure out what really happened and tell people what really happened, man. It's a community effort, and it's awesome.
No, it was a great job. I'm glad I clicked on when I did, and I saw it. I mean, like the first thing I saw was basically you going, my battery might die. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
I just happened to click on at the right time.
And I'm glad you did, and I got to bring your power banks back because you brought me a couple power banks and a cord.
Don't forget the cord.
The cord looks expensive. I'll definitely get you that cord back for sure.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, he's got an Android, so I didn't even bring the cord with me the first time, so I had to run back in flip flops, no belt, jeans falling down. It was. If you were along Holmes Boulevard and you saw my plumber butt at that point, I apologize.
Oh, it's all good, man. I think everybody understands, and I appreciate it. I really, really do, man. You were awesome. I appreciate you coming because we wouldn't have been able to show the whole thing to people if I didn't have that battery power. So.
Yeah, we do need to know when it gets to that 2-hour mark, we're going to have to transfer it over to or reset the feed and let people know that because it so happened it happened when you handed me the phone and people are like, that's what happens when you hand off the phone.
I know, I saw that.
They're blaming me for it.
They did. You took the hit, man. You took the hit. But no, you killed it, man. I appreciate you coming down there, Matt coming down there, and I appreciate Reggie being out there, and everybody that I talked to and down there for really just helping us bring the real story to people, man. That's what's important these days.
And someone just sent me Reggie's graduation picture.
What?
Someone texted it to
Nobody needs to be stalking Reggie here. Okay, you guys. If you want to see Reggie, we'll try and get him in for a show.
Yeah, no, it's funny. They sent it to me on my own, so it's too funny. All right, so one thing, and we got to talk about this because it happens over the weekend. The coronavirus, it only showed 5 deaths yesterday in Florida, but I'm just reminding people when you look at those numbers, Sunday's always really low and Tuesday's always really high. So that pattern has been for about a month. So those 2 days numbers are always skewed a little bit. So, but it looks like we're doing good. People, people are kind of forgetting about social distancing a little bit, but it's getting back to normal. So, I mean, that's and
I like getting back to normal. Like I said, I saw you downtown. We were on St. George Street. Lots of people on St. George Street. Not a lot of masks, and nobody was just dropping dead in the streets on St. George Street. It was shocking.
So Jaguar Paw, Reggie asked to see this picture, and actually, I
don't know if we can show this. Is he an adult in this picture? Do we know that he's 18 in this picture?
I don't think he's 18 in this picture, so I don't think we can show it.
All right.
Reggie, you can message me and I'll send it to you from there.
Well, hopefully we see a lot more of Reggie. I think Reggie needs his own show, but we'll figure out how that works, man.
Well, the other thing with Reggie is he has like 9 names.
He does have he self-admittedly has a lot of names. So
like
we gotta pick the best one and we gotta roll with it, man.
And it doesn't show his name is Reggie in this picture.
Well, Troy, is that it, man? That's all I got, man. You got anything else for us here today?
Hey, have a great week, everybody. I mean, enjoy us trying to get back to normal. Still be safe. Don't put yourself in awkward situations. Have a blast doing the show every morning. This is like the longest show we've done in a while.
I know, 29 minutes.
Whew, they're probably tired of hearing us.
I think so. I think it's over, man. I think that's our limit. All right, man. Well, I will talk to you tomorrow morning. For everybody else watching, I will talk to you very, very soon. I might talk to you before tomorrow morning, but we'll see how that shakes out. You can also catch Troy and I live on Uncommon Ground, the radio show, tonight at 5 o'clock, along with Mike Davis. You can follow their Facebook page for the live Facebook feed of that, too. Uncommon Ground with Mike and Troy. We'll talk to you guys very, very soon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.